Good afternoon. Good afternoon. People are really enjoying themselves today. So please, can we just fill the front seats so that we can see our face very well? So thank you very much for joining us. My name is Olumide Idowu, and I'm from Nigeria, and I'm happy to be here. I'm going to be your moderator for the next 30 to 35 minutes. One thing I need to say here is that, let me also quickly say that I'm proud to be to come from Osun State in Nigeria, which is my state of origin. Yes, so it's a pleasure for me to be doing this again this year, and I can tell you that what you are going to watch here today is going to be a lot of lessons, and even what Osun State is doing to also drive climate action. And we are going to be doing this in a way whereby everybody will be able to interact, you'll be able to ask questions, and also get something back from this side. And we're not going to take much of your time. And if you look at the screen, you will see what we are doing today is to talk about from waste to wheels and what? Subnational innovation and recycling, e-mobility, and solar. And when you look at the solutions to climate change, you see that this kind of conversation actually cut across almost everything we are talking about, whether you talk about climate resilience, whether you want to talk about solutions to climate change, and it's also speaking to actions that can drive innovation, because the only way we can start changing the narrative of what we are doing is to do something on ground rather than talking. And I'm very happy to share that Osun State has started doing that from a couple of years now. They've been putting a lot of actions together, and we are going to be hearing a lot from them through a short documentary. And that documentary is going to be looking at all these three areas of recycling, mobility, and solar, and what they are going to be doing moving forward, because they are not stopping there. As long as God is not yet saying the word is end. So let me quickly share that, this conversation is going to remind us that what we discard can actually fuel innovation, and also turning problems into power and progress. So it is very important that we see this as a solution to the conversation we are having. And when waste become a resource, like people always say in Nigeria, they say waste is resource. Waste is not waste until you what? You waste it. So it's very important that this conversation is going to show us how circular solution drive real climate action. And it's very important as well. And it's also solution we are showing you today is also complementing the effort of the federal government of Nigeria, not only Osun State alone, because it's going to add to the national determined contribution, the climate policy that we have in the country, and it's also going to support the two waste management and recycling policy that we have in the country, whereby it's helping us to transforming waste into mobility, and even clean energy is more than technology, which we know. So it's also a pathway to jobs, dignity, and a greener future for everybody. So I want us to sit down, maybe, just pretend as if you are taking a flight. Tighten your seatbelt very well, and let us watch this. 20 minutes. We're not going to take our time. At least I said 30 minutes, right? To 35 minutes. So this video is going to be around 20 minutes. So please just try as much as possible. Jot down if you have any feedback, anything you want to ask, or if you have something that can also enhance the structure or the implementation of what Osun State is doing, because nobody knows it all. We can still continue to learn from what we are going to watch. So please, let us look at this as another way of, let me see. Now I've touched something. Sorry, it went off. So just in 1 second, we are going to bring back, I think, the password. Maybe I've mistakenly touched. I just want to play the video. Yeah, just double click here. You're right. Up. Can you make it good? Okay, thank you very much. So, I hope we've tightened our seatbelts. Don't worry, there's refreshment is coming in another minute. So, please take a look. Sorry, can we have the volume? Sorry, just.
It was playing well, but I don't know.
You know what? Let me do this. Is it possible to close and reopen it? Sorry about that. You know. I should have been my hand. Okay. I think Tech is holding us back, but it's going to play. Just wait. No, it's something. Maybe we should take it. What's happening? I should have used my laptop.
The world is changing.
The speaker, what of the speaker? Okay, so guys, hello, get connected now, please.
The world is changing, and so is Oshun. Climate change threatens lives, but under the leadership of His Excellency, Governor Ademola Adeleke, Oshun is rising with solutions. With the guidance of the Office of the Director General and Special Envoy on Climate Change and Renewable Energy, Oshun is charting a bold new path. One that protects the environment, creates jobs, and powers communities with clean energy.
What we intend to do is to create a value chain where no one is left behind, where we are not just going to increase life expectancy by keeping the environment clean, but people would actually see this as an opportunity to tap into green entrepreneurship and make money. The government wants people to see that the plastic in their hands, or what they consider waste, can actually become wealth if they understand the rudiments of sourcing from the source.
Every great journey begins with planning. For the first time, Oshun mapped its climate risks, from flood zones to drought-prone farmlands, with a greenhouse gas inventory. The state is now a leader in tracking emissions. Trained climate desk officers across ministries ensure that every policy and project considers the environment.
Climate change. That is a shift in weather pattern as a result of our activities. This shift in weather pattern has a lot to do with increase in temperature, and because it is a result of our activity, there is another thing in return that these activities are giving back to us.
When I started my work, I started as a consultant. So when I came into Oshun, that was late 2023, sometime between June and August 2023. We had no climate structure, we had no data, and we had no policies on ground. And I started with a work plan because there was no hope when I came in because I had nothing to work with. I remember at the time in May 2023, we had just started the DARIS program. We wanted to tap into the DARIS program under the REA, but we had no data because we didn't know how many households. In order to be able to access that particular fund or project, we needed to have data on the households, the number of households that did not have access to clean energy or that weren't even connected to the national grid, but we did not have such data. So I divided my work into 5 or 6 phases. And so phase 1 was to establish a scientific baseline and build stakeholder confidence, and that was between June and August 2023. I and the Director of Climate Change, and you recall the Department of Climate Change was barely a year old when I started in Oshun. That was last year. So we had that stakeholder engagement and climate dialogue in Osun State, bringing together MDAs. We had youth groups, NGOs, and local councils. And then the goal was just to bring everybody together to do a mapping of our assets and our liabilities and to understand what our vulnerabilities were. So the first one was a stakeholder meeting, more like an Ibadei Mole, because the governor is so passionate about the climate action. Okay, so we wanted to look at, and if you look at the structure of climate change, it's divided into adaptation and mitigation. So we wanted to understand our vulnerabilities and our strength. So we convened the stakeholder engagement. That was the first one. And then the second one, we under phase 1 now. So we had also members of the academia. Then we also had the climate vulnerability assessment. So after the stakeholder meeting, we had the climate vulnerability assessment to look at, Osun State is flood prone. So we wanted to know the areas that were flood prone. Because we were in the news actually before I started in Osun State. So I wanted to be sure what the challenges were, and then to identify risks and adaptation priorities across all sectors within the states. And then after the vulnerability assessment, we conducted a GHG data inventory training for MPAs, and it was at that the GHG data inventory training that we appointed desk officers. So I directed the Director of Climate Change to appoint desk officers across all the NDAs. And then the General Manager of the Osun State Waste Management Agency, I equally directed him to appoint desk officers across all the local government areas. So I think right now we have across all the NDAs, think of the number of MDAs we have in Osun State, okay? And then at the local government level, we appointed 2 to each. So we have about 64 at the local government level, and then we have around about 23 across the MDAs. And then this groundwork we did under phase 1 positioned Osun among the first subnational entities in Nigeria to integrate data-driven climate planning. So that was the first thing we achieved. And we moved to phase 2, which was a policy development and governance framework. And this phase 2 started between late 2023 and early 2024. Now, what did we do under this phase? We thought about articulating our policy frameworks and like a sort of strategic roadmap to help us. And the main objective here was to create policy and institutional architecture, right, for coordinated climate action. Because now, if you do not institutionalize climate action, then you would have failed. The people would not understand what you're doing. This second phase started between November and December of 2023. Yeah. So, and we then had I set up a technical committee for the drafting of the Osun State Climate Action Plan.
Climate change is not just science, it is about people. In April 2025, Osun hosted its first climate carnival, Love the Earth, bringing thousands together through parades, dialogue, and art. Climate change became relatable.
Now, you must understand that part of my mandate is to help Osun State domesticate the National Climate Change Act 2021. And you cannot domesticate it without including members of the academia. Okay, you cannot domesticate it without the civil society. You cannot domesticate it without the traditional rulers. You cannot domesticate without the market women. So we set up a technical committee to work with the data we already had. Now remember, that the climate action plan is basically an outline of how you intend to reduce emission. So we had done our vulnerability assessment. We've seen the places where we had issues and where we needed to cut down on energy use and transition to green sources now. So the next question was, how do we do it? Okay, what policies should we put in place? It is happening for the first time. We've never had. So give us a clap. Give the governor a clap. Come on, give it. Now that's to acknowledge His Excellency Governor Ademola Nuruddin Adeleke, who has made this event possible. He's one of the few governors in Nigeria who actually acknowledge the urgency of climate action. So in April, we had our first ever Osun State Climate Change Carnival. And why did we have the carnival? It was our way of announcing the governor's 5-point agenda and our climate agenda for the state. And what better way to begin that than starting with the youth? So I thought to myself, I said, okay, we've had stakeholder engagements, okay, with the MDAs, the NGOs and all that. So, but we need to bring in our youth because the youth are our legacy. Okay, the youth are the ones who would continue and propagate this gospel of climate action. Exactly. So the goal was to bring policy to life through inclusion, awareness, and partnerships. So we had our first ever climate change carnival, spearheaded by the youth, and we had paintings like the ones you have there. We had that was where we showcased most of these paintings were done by young people. This one says Dosumo Fisayo, Osun State University. This drawing represents the love of the earth and the importance of recycling and planting trees. So this was from one of them. So and we have a couple of other ones. If you look at it, it shows things about the blue economy, aquatic life, and basically around about the earth, how we can save the earth. The goal was we asked them actually to look around them during the carnival and draw whatever reminds them of climate change, and that was where all these photos, how all these photos came about, the drawings. And then after the theme of the climate change carnival was Love the Earth, and it was held at the Freedom Park in Oshobo. And so blending public education with art, music and activism. We had a lot of NGOs in attendance. And then it was at that place we launched our e-bikes. That was the first time we introduced the electric motorcycles to young people, and then we had a showcase. It was quite beautiful.
In schools, the textbook Our Planet, Our Responsibility and Imole Green Clubs are shaping a new generation of climate leaders.
This book for secondary schools. Now remember, when we had the carnival, the climate change carnival, right? It was about inclusion, to bring the youth so that they can propagate our legacy, right? And then I thought to myself and said, what other way than to catch them young? Let us start with a book. So this is a book, Our Planet, Our Responsibility. It is the goal is that every student in Osun State, will be climate conscious. Yes, they are our legacy. They are our little ambassadors. Our ambassadors who would grow up to be conscious of the environment in all they do and understand the basics of recycling. Okay, we're trying to advocate for the earth, for the environment, to teach them what it means to move from a linear economy to a circular economy, that you can reuse anything.
What was once waste is now wealth. Osun's recycling hub is training entrepreneurs to transform plastic into economic value. This is more than recycling, it is job creation.
This facility has created employment for, we have the hub manager, the supervisor, the tricycle rider, then the machine operator, we have 2 machine operators.
With upcoming material recovery outlets and a mega hub in Lado, Osun is building the most ambitious waste-to-wealth economy in southwest Nigeria.
What we consider waste, what we consider dirty, is actually money. And today, we have the GM of OMA, who has also made it possible, because when I brought Mr. Taiwo here, who is the manager of our waste swap, to collaborate with the state, the first questions that came up was, what do you mean that we can turn waste to wealth? What do you mean that the pure water bottle, that the pure water sachets and Coke bottles can be recycled? And I said, yes, it can. And I would like to inform you that today, Osun State has a recycling hub in the state right now. Thank you. And it is on that basis, on the basis of that recycling hub, that you all are gathered here to become a part of this vision. The vision to transform waste to wealth. To learn how you can tap into green entrepreneurship. To figure out how you can make money from picking up waste, from electronic waste, that old refrigerator that people are not using. You can bring it to our hub and recycle it and get paid for money. To understand how anybody can start a side hustle just by tapping into our circular economy plan. We have one mega hub, right? But we then have a middleman who we've given these bags to go into neighborhoods to pick up the plastic, exactly, with tricycles and everything. So the goal for us right now, we're quite ambitious about recycling in Osun State. Having institutionalized it, what we want to do is to have a recycling hub in every local government in the state. And then some of our royal fathers have already helped us. The Alado of Lado has already donated 2 acres of land for us, so we can set up a mega hub there. We already have a hub right now at testing ground in Oshobo. Yes, and then I went to see the Wukuta 3 weeks ago, and His Royal Majesty has asked us to come, that he has stuff, he's willing to collaborate with us. We have other communities too.
From the city to the village, renewable energy is lighting up lives. The One Child, One Lantern project is giving students light to study. Clean cook stoves are saving women from smoke-filled kitchens. Eco-friendly e-bikes are creating new mobility options for youth. These are small actions with big impact, improving education, health, and livelihoods.
This year, I think around April, May, when learners were writing WAEC, we realized that we had a bit of a challenge, and that was and it had to do with communities that were not connected to the national grid. So we created an intervention under my office, which is the Imwale solar line. So it's very simple. Let me show you. So here you have the panel. You can charge it. You can either plug it here or you put this on that in the sun. Yeah. So it's very simple. It has 3 settings. 1, 2, 3. See that? So then we have it here, the Imwale solar lamp. This particular intervention initiative was developed to cater to the needs of people who are located within the rural areas who are not connected to the national grid. Yes, so we did. We now pivoted. We moved beyond giving to students now to market women. We went into communities to distribute to the people who were using this kerosene lanterns. Yes. So we gave to them, and then we started talking to royal fathers, reaching out to communities to tell them that to sensitize them on the need to move to cleaner energy sources, and which led us to the Waste to Wealth initiative.
Behind every project is a strong policy. Osun launched its first climate action plan and drafted a renewable energy policy aligning the state with national and global frameworks. With the Climate Change Advisory Council, stakeholders from government, academia, and civil society are guiding the journey, ensuring continuity beyond political cycles.
The Osun State House of Assembly, under my leadership, is ready to work with the executive, federal partners, and development actors to enact enabling laws that attract green financing, support solar and waste-to-energy projects, and build climate resilience in our communities.
The time for waiting has passed, and the time for localized action is now.
I think that one of the benefits of gatherings such as this is for honorable members to listen to the practitioners, because we take it as our own public hearing. Already we are talking about the National Inclusive Job Act that we are working on. And the only way we can get important inputs is to organize conferences such as this. I'm so happy when the Mr. Speaker said, Osun youth is eager to learn. The Deputy Governor also said that Osun youth, they are also eager to learn. I brought a good news because I closed my chapter. As the President of the Council for Renewable Energy, it is a pain that made me develop the first in Nigeria curriculum that was approved by National Board of Technical Education and the Ministry of Education to train national diploma in solar technology and management.
This is the Climate Smart Investment Portfolio. This portfolio I took to a conference in June 2024 to showcase some of our climate smart investment priorities in Osun State. And we took it to COP29 last year. And then this year, in June, we launched the first ever Osun State climate change policy. And this was launched at a post-legislative conference roundtable, Southwest Roundtable, which we collaborated with the House of Representatives Committee on Renewable Energy and the UNDP. So we hosted it. Yeah, so we brought a lot of people down to Osun. Then we have, and it was also at that meeting that the Osun State Renewable Energy Development and Regulation Policy was launched.
And this is just the beginning, with projects like the Mole Green Microfinance Bank, Climate Smart Farming for Women, Waste to Energy Solutions, and ICT Innovation Hubs. Osun is building a full green economy that connects policy, people, and prosperity.
We have the Imole Green Finance Bank coming up. Yes. And what is the goal? The goal, as was people when I had a meeting with the women-led organizations and the youth, we carry representatives of we carry and ICARI. The first thing most of these people told me was that it was difficult to access grants or loans. So I spoke to His Excellency, my principal, and he kindly and graciously agreed, to collaborate with a private investor to help us set up a green bank. Yes. So we have that now. So that's part of our long-term goal now. So we've got, remember I told you that our work plan is in phases. So that's like in part of our phase 5. And we're currently in phase 3 and phase 4.
Well, why some of us prefer grants to loans is because, we know what it means to start from scratch. I started from scratch 6 years ago. I started when I don't have anything. So I think I would love a platform where I won't have to be running hectare to refund.
I started Oroki Food 4 years ago. For me now to go into grants, I want to believe that grants will do more for us. The grants will help us in aspect of solar power, in empowering our work, so that we won't have to there won't be delay. There is no NEPA, there's no light to wear, there are no work. All those little challenges will be. I want to believe that the grants will go a long way. It will really help us, and I look forward to it.
Osun has chosen the path of light, the Imole way, guided by science, powered by people, and led by visionary leadership. Our state is proving that subnational action can drive global change. The journey continues, and we invite ministries, NGOs, investors, and citizens to join us. Together, we can make Osun the green heart of Nigeria. Imole Osun, leading Nigeria's green future. Together, we rise for a climate-resilient tomorrow.
In Osun State, when we say Imole Day, we're not referring to political light. It is solar lamps, e-bikes, clean cook stoves, and the future that we are lighting up for generations to come. And so my work here is forward-looking. We're changing, we're creating, rewriting the history of Osun State, co-creating impact and legacy. And that's how I want my work in Osun State to be remembered. That when we say Imole Day, Okuku Parada, Imole.
Please, can you give a round of applause for Osun State? Thank you very much for that video. There's a lot that I can see in that video. Let me first of all use this opportunity to call on Professor Chinwe. Obiaku Igwe, the Director General and the Special Envoy of the Governor of Osun State on climate change and renewable energy. Please give her a round of applause. And we also want to call on the stage Mr. Samuel Ogundele. Oh, sorry, Oguleye. I'm sorry. Is the Director of Climate Change and Renewable Energy, Osun State Ministry of Environment and Sanitation. We also have with us Miss. Okay, she's coming. All right. Thank you very much. So let's quickly go to the conversation in the next 10 minutes and we close. Then we have some sort of way forward. So I would love to give to the room before we have anything from the panel. If you have anything you want to say based on the video, like I said, feedback, what is Osun doing? What is Osun doing that they're not doing right? What do you want to add to what Osun State is doing? And do you have a recommendation to do better? I think with that we'll be able to have, so please, let me see, okay, 1, 2, I just want to know everybody that we talk. After that, nobody is talking again. We have only 1, 2. Any other? Okay. So let me come. There's a hand at the back. Okay, 3. Thank you. So let me start from you.
Hello, my name is Nkechi. Nice work that you guys are doing in Osun State. I want to talk about the waste side of it. I saw a whole lot of movement from here and there. I just want to know, do you measure the waste that you collect and to be able to know how many tons you collect, and also how many when they are leaving, how many that has been you've been able to recycle and all that, so that I think that will give us more statistics and data in future presentation. Thank you.
Right? Okay, so okay. All right.
My name is Mayfield and Odigie. I was going to ask almost the same thing, the measurable outcome from this project that will be delivered at least by the end of 2027 in terms of waste delivered, the megawatts of solar installed, the electric vehicles that will be deployed, and also most importantly the jobs created.
Thank you. Then the last.
Thank you very much. My name is Dalako John Akibe. I work with Department of Climate Change, Federal Ministry of Environment. I really want to commend the Osun State because watching through the documentary to see what the state have been doing in terms of climate intervention, it's a big one because I was intrigued to see that Osun is exploring strategy to reach out across the MDA, vertically and horizontally across the local government areas, which is one of the initiatives we at the federal level. We are looking at how to reach out to the 774 local government across Nigeria to establish climate change desks and units across. And I love the fact that Osun is already taking the lead in that way, and also other intervention they are having. And one thing I want to mention is our documentation matters a lot. And I just want to kind of call us back that we should ensure that while we are having these activities and programs, we have a good recording system to archive all of these activities. And because I'm trying to recall the last subnational ranking that the ministry organized with some colleagues, and I can't recall the position of Osun State on that ranking. But what I want to know is that documentation is one of the gaps that we identify when they complete the survey. So good work, and of course we'll continue to collaborate more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, I think that is the third question. Let me come to you.
All right, thank you first of all, thank you for attending this side event. I'm short notice. For most of the people, the faces I'm seeing here, the invitation came on short notice. So thank you for coming. And I think in order to answer the questions, I have to give a background to most of the initiatives you've just seen now on the documentary. So, as indicated in the documentary, when we started, we had a plan that cuts across 6 phases. And what was the goal? The goal was impact and carbon finance. And impact in terms of, which was three-pronged: the environment, the people, economics, and health. So we make sure that the environment is safe, we make sure that people are healthy, and then we make sure that people are actually making money. And that is on the side of impact. And then on the reverse side, the goal was focused on climate finance. And we all know that when it comes to climate finance, that you're either looking at carbon offset or carbon credits. And in order for you to be able to generate either carbon credit or carbon offset from the onset, the project has to be measurable. You have to understand what exactly it is that you're measuring. And in terms of, I'll give you an example, in terms of the solar lanterns, we had to track it. We know every household where our lanterns are being used. We know the people who are using the lanterns. We know how many lanterns, over 10,000 lanterns we've shared, and we know what we could gain in terms of carbon credit from that. And we started this because we wanted to make an impact and to also be able to tap into climate finance. So on one hand, we are helping people move to cleaner sources of green energy, and on the other hand, we are building towards carbon finance. We want to make sure that the project is viable. So from the design of the project to the implementation, we had 2 goals in mind: impact and carbon finance. And I'm glad to announce that in terms of the measurement, the other side of the goal is that we want to set up a mega recycling hub processing plant that processes over 1,000 tons. So, and if we do not measure it from now to know how many we get from Oshobo, right now our first hub now is located, the mega hub is in Oshobo. We're setting up a second one in Lado. So if we do not measure it, we wouldn't be able to understand the total capacity of the processing plant that we are setting up. So to answer your question, yes, we are measuring, we are keeping track, we're tracking where we know the required or the requisite number of solar lanterns that we ought to distribute to be able to get to earn a certain level of carbon credit, a certain amount of carbon credit, and vice versa. So it cuts across both the mini grids, even though we didn't feature the mini grids here, but for the solar lamps, the clean cook stoves, and the bottles. Now, for now, we're not processing. What we're just doing is to convert every collected PET bottles into pellets. And we have a policy now that is actually driven or shaped by our climate finance, our climate revenue generation goal, which is that no bottle leaves Osun State. All the PET bottles generated are processed in Osun State to enable us understand what is required and what the volume that we need to be able to start our recycling processing plants. That's for your own question. And I guess that covers the other questions. And then for the question from the last person, I would like to say that when we started our work, we started it on a systematic process. We had a manual. Okay, when we started, there was no climate infrastructure, there was no structure on ground, but we had a manual. And that manual necessitated a systematic approach to data generation, and our work in Osun State is actually driven by data. So we are tracking every data for both at the local government level. I think I should speak a little bit more about the local government, the desk officers. The desk officers are also the people part of our data-driven goal in Osun State, our climate data-driven goal. And what is it? It is very simple. From the source, they are able to help us track. We're tracking across agricultural products, methane, and CO2, and they help us gather these data. We've done 2 trainings. We conducted 2 trainings for them right now, and one is being spearheaded by the Department of Climate Change, and the second one, which is on the circular economy, where we have about 64 focal desk officers across all the local government. It also enable us to avoid creating landfills, to make sure that the advocacy is ramped up and people do not, people avoid sending their waste to the landfill. So we make sure that we cut off that process, where we avoid the whole process of having to pollute the environment. So we are tracking, to summarize, and we are doing our very best to ensure that whilst tracking, that the documentation is up to date.
Thank you very much, Prof. I think let me also give our Mr. Samuel the mic as well to also add some key points to what. I also have a question to ask basically, but let's have.
Thank you very much. Just to add a few things to what my DJ spoke about. The first one has to do with waste measurement. In terms of tons and all that, we have an agency that is shadowed with that responsibility. You know, in the course of the presentation, we mentioned that Osun State Waste Management Agency, they are shadowed with the responsibility of tracking the flow of waste, the inflow of waste, and the way it is being taken out of the state. So they are taking track of the volume of waste that are being converted or that are being recycled. Then secondly, on the issue of job creation, the establishment of the recycling hub in Osun State has created a lot of indirect jobs for youth, for women, and the likes. So it is a novel attempt on the part of Osun State to create both direct and indirect job opportunities for our teeming youth. And lastly, on the issue of data bank, in Osun State, as part of our mandate in the ministry, there is this establishment of a carbon tracking center in Osun State University. Currently, that is doing a yeoman job. We are tracking, just like what Prof said. We have conducted phase 1 and phase 2 of GAG inventory on Osun State with the help of that particular carbon tracking center. So Osun State is doing a lot to make sure that we aggregate all our efforts and come up with a unified and evidence-based results. Thank you.
Yeah, please, can you give them a round of applause? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel, for that wonderful contribution. I just want to quickly come back to the audience. We are now going to way forward. What do you think, or should we do better? And I'll still come back to Prof to also highlight that how is the climate policy going to support all this? Because when we have the climate change policy, that is the guide principle for all this. So how are you going to be using this to support the implementation of all these activities or all these ideas that So I want to know if we have any other way forward. Then we come back to give us. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Lawa Adegweja. One of the way forward that just came to my mind is building a system around this innovative, laudable idea, so that it will not be a one-time project. So I feel there is need for us to build a system around it, so that the green light, the Imole Lantern will not just be a one-off event. We can have a schedule or a timeline in terms of in ways which we can replace those lanterns and have it as a system, so that in case in the future, next 5 years, maybe this administration is transiting something else, these particular innovative ideas will not go away with the administration, but it will be something that will be a legacy that will stay and will be transiting different political landscape. That's just one suggestion. Thank you.
First and foremost, let me commend the Osun team as usual for always being the trailblazers. We have had some transactions with Osun State government, and the tenacity of purpose with which they have continually driven the national climate change is almost second to none. At our last visit, when the governor hosted us, he rolled out the red carpet and he did all that was possible to ensure that our French partners gave Osun their best. Well, I'm aware that the reforestation project has been paused or delayed because of the policy framework, but now that the policy framework is has been adopted, I would not want to ask what Osun State is going to do, but I'm just going to say that I'm just going to say that Osun should sustain the tempo, let the lights keep shining, and let Imole continue to shine. Congratulations again on your trailblazing effort. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's come back to Prof so that we can close.
Chairman, please could you come forward? Chairman is, well, we call him Chairman. He's our project partner. Osun State, in the documentary, we didn't talk about the reforestation project because it's incomplete. And yes, and it would have seemed like we were, well, perhaps we should have considered signaling a little bit, but I don't like to brag. I love to be humble. And I think we should just give Chairman the honor of speaking about this project for just about 2 minutes, and then he'll wrap it up for us. This is one of our biggest project partners. Thank you, Chairman, for coming.
Thank you very much, DJ. Distinguished guests, I will not waste your time. The Agowu Forest project, the reforestation project, as the DG mentioned, is naturally being hosted by Osun State government. Agowu area is a location in Osun State with a huge swath of forest that had been degraded. The PDD, and I think Madam from NCC, I think you should please join us, because this is the project, as you know, one of the key success factors on any project is leadership support. And Madam Edward here, she is from the National Council on Climate Change. They've offered all their support when we went to Osun in furtherance of the project design document. They provided all the support that was required. So this project is direct to how many hectares, please? 21 hectares. Yes. So 21 hectares. I'm sure you know what that means. 1 hectare is 10,000 square meters. So 21 times 10,000 is what we are talking about. And the plan is to reforest. When you see the Amazon here, we have our own Amazon in Osun. And to be honest, the government has done so much. And under the RED policy, which is reduction in emission from deforestation and forest degradation, the world is waiting. The world is waiting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. We are being told that we have to vacate the premises now. I really do appreciate you all. Osun State, just to summarize, has a lot of projects in the pipeline, and but we are waiting. We have the Green Incubator project,
Then we carry women in circular economy, commerce, climate change, and renewable energy. And then we have youth. We have a lot of projects that will be launched between now and the next COP. And we're inviting you next year to celebrate some of our milestones again. And we're also hosting a post-COP event on the 18th of December. Thank you.
Thank you very